So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on our very first webinar of 2021. My name is Elizabeth Kelly, and I am really honored and excited to have our very first speaker here from the US. Welcome, Nina. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. We're super excited. So just to fill you in a little bit, and I do have some slides here to share. Let's see if I can get my technology to cooperate with me. Nope, not even in the least. Okay. Oh, it's going to be one of those evenings, Nina. I hope you're techier than I am. You know
It's
what?
all good. It's all good.
We're just going to stop that and we're just going to go back to what we were doing. Okay, there we go. So welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We are very honored and excited to have Nina with us. So I'll just give you a little bit, I guess I should tell you a little bit about myself. So I've been a real estate investor for 15 years. I am a coach and a property manager. And, you know, like most of us in real estate, we wear a lot of hats. So one of the challenges that I've had over the years is trying to reconcile, like, this is the vision I have for my life. And this is what my life looks like right now. And how do I get to where I want to be from where I am right now? And it wasn't until I registered for Seven Figure Flipping, which is an awesome group for wholesalers and flippers out of the US. And they introduced me to Nina and her concept of the Boldly Blueprint, which for the first time in my life, I went, I can see where I want to be, and here are all the steps. And now I can see how to make it happen. And I just thought, you know what, I know with the new year coming and everything else, I thought, I bet there's a lot of other people who are having the same challenges that I am. So that's why we invited Nina to be here with us this evening. Just a little bit of housekeeping. We've got quite a few people on the webinar tonight. We're so honored that you're able to take time on a busy evening and enjoy us. I know you're probably tired and you know that you want nothing more than to curl up with a glass of wine and maybe go to bed at 7:30. So I appreciate you joining us this evening from wherever you are. And just a little bit of housekeeping. So Nina is super interactive. She loves chatting with people. So we will keep the chat box going. Please do, when Nina asks for input, or if you have comments, or if you love what Nina's saying, like, give her a round of applause. If you have specific questions, we're going to try and answer them sort of in a timely manner. So do me a favor, on the bottom, you should see a Q&A bubble. So the Q&A bubble is just for specific questions you have around the material Nina's presenting, but the chat box is for ongoing love and support and sharing of information within the group. So thank you so much, Nina, for joining us, and over to you. I'll let you get started. I'm super excited. Oh, glass of wine in hand. Perfect.
I was going to say, I'm like, why doesn't everyone go grab a glass of wine? We'll have a really great time tonight. So awesome. Well, thank you so much. I'm really, really excited to be here. I have some slides if you're a visual learner like I am. So I'm going to present and obviously narrate and share along the way. And as Elizabeth had mentioned, please chat as much as you want, raise your hand, ask questions, and we'll make sure that we get to every single piece that we possibly can. So, all right, I'm going to share my screen. Give me just a second here. All right, can everybody see my desktop? It has, I don't know, if rainbow colors on it right now. I am going to project my presentation on there. All right, do you see my slideshow? Thumbs up, good.
We can see it, Nina, you're good.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I am the owner and founder of a company called Boldly & Co. And Elizabeth has recently been exposed to us, as she mentioned, through Seven Figure Flipping. And essentially what we do at a really high level is we help business owners or people with a business idea who want to bring it to life or are extremely career driven or have teams. We help them take their big idea and make it something that's really easy and practical and tactical. And I want to share that with you so you can kind of think of us at a really high level as a company that helps you plan effectively and then also know how to take action effectively with your plan. What I find with a lot of other companies or tools out there is that you get maybe one piece of the puzzle, but not the other 4 or 5 down the road, and vice versa. So we're here to bring it all to you. I want to share all this information with you and just teach and educate and share more about who I am. And I hope that you guys get some awesome value from it. So as Elizabeth had mentioned, please participate. I know that it's 7:30 where you guys are at. I know that it's late, so please ask questions at any time, share your ideas along the way, and also we're going to have a little opportunity to actually do the work, do some of the things that I'm going to share with you guys today, and I would really love if you could actually put pen to paper or put your fingers to the keyboard and do, what we're talking about. So, all right, when I work with businesses, I promise them that I can get results. And the question I get is like, how are you so confident? How can you stress that? I give a satisfaction guarantee to everything that I've done. I let people know that when they work with us, they're going to get 2 or 3 times more done than otherwise, that they'll beat their competition day in and day out. And the reason that I'm so confident is because everything that I share with you tonight and share with our clients and share with other real estate investing groups is because I've done it before. I've not only brought what I'm going to share with you today, I've not only brought it to other companies and fixed very broken companies. I brought it into my own businesses. I am a real estate investor myself, as well as I see real estate investing for me as a tool. It's a means to my other passion projects that I have in life. And I also own Boldly & Co. And I've turned these companies into some very successful companies by applying what I'm going to share with you today. So what I want to do is give you a little bit of background about myself, so I'm not a total stranger to you. So when I went to school at the University of Wisconsin at Madison, go Badgers, if any of you know us. When I went to school for marketing and advertising. And what happened was I was recruited by a company called Epic Systems Corporation. And that is a healthcare technology company. And I, at 21 years old, knew nothing about healthcare. I knew nothing about technology, but I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And I didn't have to be a genius to say, well, healthcare and technology are 2 industries that are never going away. So probably good to take a bet on this. And when I was connecting with the company, they didn't require me to have any experience with healthcare or technology. Their concept, which to me I think is extremely intelligent and smart in how they run their business, is they screen for personality profile. They screen for intelligence levels. They screen for all these other things. And they say, we know, we have it down to a science, what type of person we are looking for. And when we have that person, which happened to be me and many, many other people, they know that we will be a right fit. And their thought is, we will grow you to be the type of employee that we need you to be, because we know you're capable of it based on how we've screened you. So when I entered the corporate world at, I want to say I hadn't even turned 22 yet. I was a week away from turning 22. But I joined this company. I know nothing about healthcare or technology, but I am bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and I am ready to go. And I'm sure we can all relate to this, whether it's at the start of our careers or it's starting a new company or a new job, and you go in as your best self. And I called myself at that time, that's what I would call the good Nina, which is what you see on your screen. But what I found over the next several years was, as much as I was very capable of doing well, I was up against a lot of things in my corporate job. I was up against leaders who weren't really people leaders. Maybe they were in a management position because they were technically great at their job. Like, for example, maybe they were computer programmers and they advanced because they were an amazing programmer, but yet they were not a people leader. So I'm up against people that are not people leaders, that are unaware of how to get the most out of their people and maximize their people. I was working with leaders for several years that really didn't care or know about teaching me to grow and advancing me and my team. I worked with leaders who were very concerned about technical skills and weren't curious or wanting to grow people with their soft skills, which to me I think is the most important. And then a few other things on here, like the accessibility expectation. You know, you're making pennies out of college and you're expected to still work 70 to 80 hours a week. Well, at least that's how it is in the States. And it's kind of like, you know, there's this culture and mentality here that is about hustle and grind, and you better want it so badly that you will do it to your own health's detriment. And if you don't work that hard, you should feel guilty about it. And I really fell into that trap. And then also just, you know, I was up against these toxic cultures in the workplace. So I just want to kind of throw it back to you guys in the chat. And I'd just like you to participate and share, like, have you ever been up against one of these things, you know, or some of them, or even all of them? And for this, when I was up against all these things for so many years in a row and working 70 to 80 hours a week, what happened was I turned into what I call the bad Nina. So I went from like this very bright, excited, motivated, positive person to somebody that was depressed, had panic attacks, was angry all the time. My emotions were constantly on the surface. I developed migraines. I developed like very severe back pain. And I went, how can I be in my mid-20s and this is happening? Like, where did I go? And after asking so many of the leaders in my company, like, I want to do better. I want to still achieve at this high level, but I don't want to be this bad Nina that I am right now. I'm like half of myself. I'm just a shell of my spirit, and that doesn't feel right. And my leaders said to me, you know what, Nina, you just need to keep working. You just need to work harder. You just need to figure it out. There was not a single leader that offered me a solution that said anything that did me better, that helped me change things around for myself. And I'm thinking, how am I working with extremely capable, smart people? And I realized we don't teach anyone how to think about strategy. We don't teach anybody how to actually think about time. We don't teach anybody how to plan properly. And those were these things that were missing. And what it forced me to do was get to work. And what I did was I said, you know what? Nobody at my company is going to save me or help me get out of this awful, vicious cycle and trap that I'm in this corporate world. And I need to help myself. So what I did for 2 years was research and study everything that I could get my hands on when it came to psychology, well-being, productivity. Because remember, I didn't want to lose how much I was achieving. I'm extremely competitive. I want to be the best, and I want to constantly achieve. But I had to find a way to keep a solid, sound mind and to stay well and stay healthy, because I know logically, right, that if those things are great, I can operate at a higher level. So I kept thinking like those things have to go hand in hand, and my research proved that. So now I do all this research for 2 years, and I start to put together kind of this skeleton of a system, a business system. And I just applied it to myself. And I started by putting together my vision for my life, which I had never done before. I just, it's like I went to high school, got a job, went to high school, went to college, got a job. I just kind of went through the motions that I thought I was supposed to be going through in my life, and never actually thought, what do I really want for myself? What do I really want for my health, my movement, my nutrition, a house, my cars, travel, experiences, my relationships, my money, my financial freedom. Like, what do I want for all those things? I never did that. So I started with this system that started with vision. And then I broke that down and broke it down and kept saying, well, how do I get there? How do I get there? How do I get there? And I just kept breaking it down to these very small pieces. And then what I did was I put together a planning system where I said, how do I implement this in the most effective way every single day? So I can still be balanced, be healthy, be well, but I can get 2 or 3 times more done than everybody else out there. And so that's what I put together in this kind of skeletal system that I just created for myself. Well, the next year, I get promoted to be a team manager. And you have to remember, my team that I'm working on or working with, like, they're all in the same position that I just was. They're overworked. They travel 100% of the time. They work 70 to 80 hours a week. They're not healthy. They're not well. Well, I applied this system, this visioning, and then breaking that down and making sure everybody had their own individualized and team plans, that they knew how to implement it in the best way, that they understand how to think about their mindsets and behaviors. All these things had to go together. And I taught them this. And you can see here on this screen, the team grew in 24 months from 24 people to 130 people. Now, how did we grow by, 500% or a little more than 500%? What started to happen was our clientele said, I need more people like that. Your people are getting so much done. They are doing such great work. They are so positive and joyous. And like, how do we get more of that? And so they kept bringing on our team members, and we had to continue to hire and hire and hire. The next thing that happened was we saw our team, our attrition, so the rate at which people want to leave, go from 22% annually to 4%. So this is like saying we had 96% retention. This is like saying nobody wanted to leave our team. And to me, that says a lot about what this system provides. In the industry that we were in, healthcare technology, which probably is quite similar to real estate investing and the many different facets of it. But people will leave quickly to go earn 30,000 more at the next company. And it's very easy to just go get a huge pay jump. And we had so many people on our team start to say, no, we are so loyal to you and what you provide. It goes beyond money at this point. So I kept saying like, well, why? Okay, like I know my system was working. I know I'm like doing a great job coaching and sharing this with my team. And I kept thinking like, why does this work? And it really comes down to these 3 things here. First off, I had to hire the right people, right? I couldn't just hire anybody. But the last 2 are what I really want to focus on today, which is we maximized each person through our system. Just through teaching them our system, it made them better. And we also put well-being at the forefront. We didn't say, well, work comes first, and then if you have time, focus on well-being and balance and health and all these things. Well-being was absolutely put at the forefront. It was at the forefront of every conversation, and it became critical to these results. So that said, this is what the system at a very high level looks like. So I call it build and boom your business, right? But this is really, it's a planning and productivity system that we offer to our clientele. The first piece, which we're going to go into detail about tonight, is our Boldly Blueprint. So this is that visioning, right? And it's the strategy and it's the goals that you have for your life and your business. So a lot of times you'll see you do vision and strategy and goals, but it's just for your business. And it's like, wait a second, you have a whole life here, okay? So we're going to focus on that today, and I'm going to teach some of that to you for the Boldly Blueprint. What we do with that information, though, is we turn it into what I call building blocks. This is a cutesy name, basically, for project plan. where we say in the next 90 days, how do we turn that boldly blueprint? How do we turn those 1-year goals and your 90-day milestones into very simple, easy action? And remember, it accounts for your whole life, okay? Well, the beauty of this is all you have to do then is take a guess, a good guess at what you need to do in your life and business or for your goals. We write it down. And then we follow that plan every day and every week. So you can see quickly we went from this blueprint, which was dreamy and motivating and exciting, but we actually had to do something with it and put in the hard work to say, how do we make this really simple? Like, I just have to follow it, right? Because you don't want to get into a week and have to figure out all the decisions that you have to make. You want them well laid out in advance and have them connected to your blueprint. Okay, the next thing that we do in this system is we have on the bottom left here the productivity methodology and planner. So what this does is it helps you figure out every single week and every single day, what are your priorities? What are things that are urgent? What's everything else? And what are things that you should be delegating? And it teaches you, it's really more about the methodology than it is about our planner. It shows you how do you implement these into the right hours, the right days, the right times for your brain and body so that you are operating on the right things at the right times. That is what helps you be productive. So it's not about doing the most or doing more. It's actually about being smarter and doing less and being purposeful and being very critical about where your time goes. And then the last piece of this system is what we call bold behaviors in mindset. Now, all these other pieces, the blueprint, the building blocks, the productivity methodology, these are things that you can craft and get the hang of in a day or two, right? Like, it takes some time. You do have to take a purposeful pause and put the time into these things. But you see like immediate information and data that you can do something with and you know how to do it. The bold behaviors and mindset piece takes a little longer. There is learning involved. There is application. So you have to learn some of the information here behind bold behaviors and mindset. But the goal is that you're constantly training your brain and constantly training your body to find ways to make you more productive. So it's not just about having a great plan. It has to be about, how am I training my brain? How am I training my thoughts? How am I training what I do every single day that keeps me well and pushes me to be productive? So with that said, I'm going to take a pause. And do we have any questions, comments, anything that I can address before we move on?
I haven't seen anything come up. Everybody's responding to you in the chat, and there's no questions yet, Nina, so you're good.
Okay, awesome. All right, so let's keep it moving. So honestly, let's talk about it. Okay, you're here today. I'm going to take a guess because you either have an existing business and you want to do business better. You want to amplify how you're operating or how your business is operating. Or you're here today because you're building a business. Maybe you have a business idea and you're ready to launch, or you want to do something amazing with it and get that idea out of your head and actually turn it into reality. Or you're here, well, just because you want to achieve a huge goal, okay? That would be why you're here today. I hope that's why you're here today. No matter what, you're here because you're wanting to do something great. There's a lot of people who aren't here today, okay? This makes you really different and really amazing that you're putting in the time when you could relax right now. And I promise you're going to get some really awesome things out of this. So what I want to talk about is failure, actually. What I see with a lot of business owners that I work with and a lot of businesses that I've been in is that they're missing a lot of different areas in their business plan, and it causes them to fail. So you may have one or some or many of these things in your business, but if you don't have all of them, you will never be able to operate at this peak level that we're going for. So we're going to talk about really quickly some failure points that most business owners hit. And I just want you to take stock of these for yourself. Like, maybe I'm missing that piece, right? And I want you to write it down as we go. So very quickly, the failure points are: most business owners do not have a vision for their life. They are just reacting to their business. And this is probably the only one I'm going to pause on. When you get a job, right, or build a business, that job dictates your money. It dictates your time. It dictates what it looks like when you're with your family. It dictates a lot of things for yourself. What we try to do is we flip this on its head and we say, we actually need to have a vision for your life. What are the things you want? What are the things you dream of? And a lot of times people can't even say this out loud. They're too nervous that if they say it out loud, it won't happen, or they'll look foolish or be embarrassed if they don't accomplish it. But when you set out for your life vision, now you craft your job or your business around that life vision. It's not the other way around. It's not that your job or business should dictate what your life is like. It's the other way. Your life vision should dictate how your business operates and what you do and achieve. And when you have this life vision, that's what motivates you on those really hard days. And we all know there are lots of them and hard hours. And we have some days that are up and down and up and down. But this is the driver, okay? So failure point, a lot of business owners do not have a vision for their life. They also don't have a vision for their business. They also don't align their vision to their goals. Then they don't apply those goals into smaller sets, what we call milestones. Then they don't know how to break those milestones down. I wish you could see my hands. They're getting like smaller and smaller and smaller. I also see people who do not understand their own money and how to apply their money to different scenarios to make their dreams a reality. I also see a lot of business owners fail. They don't understand how to actually implement their plans into their days, into their hours, into their weeks. So they've got this great plan, but they don't know how to actually stay focused and stay creative and be effective in implementing it. The next failure point is business owners don't address their whole life, right? So this is what I was guilty of in the corporate world. Was I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked, and that was taken advantage of. And it certainly was not great that I was somebody who was focused on achievement and competition, because I just fed into this model. When I got to this breaking point in the corporate world, I didn't have my health to rely on. I didn't have great relationships because I had been so focused in the corporate world. I didn't have experiences to play off of. And this is, to me, a huge, huge mistake. You must, in order to be well and operate at your peak in your business, you must address your whole life. The next failure point, not understanding how your behaviors and mindset hold you back. And what I find a lot with business owners is there's a lot of things that are imaginary or in their heads, or stories that we've told ourselves, or interpretations that we've come up with on our own from our, interpreting what our parents said one time to us when we were 5 years old or something. Like, I'm guilty of all these things, but we are not aware of how they're actually holding us back in our business. And then the last real failure point is not incorporating all of this with everybody in your business. So it's one thing to be an amazing business owner and you have a vision and you've got all the pieces of this system that we're going to talk about. And the failure point is that you're not sharing it and teaching it with everybody else along the way. So you want your team to be strong. They need to be just as strong as you. They need to have their own life vision. They need to be aware of the business vision, and they might need to apply pieces of their life vision in other ways, right? Maybe they have a side hustle. Maybe they've got other things going on, okay? And everyone needs to be going towards the same thing. This takes a lot of work. This is not simple, right? I'm not going to sit here and be like, this is easy as 1, 2, 3. That's not reality. This is hard work, but it lets you be the coach and the leader in your business so everyone else can fly. Okay. All right. So let me pause one more time. Any other questions yet?
I was just asking how many people could see themselves in one or more of these failure points. So I'm just waiting to see. Definitely some of them are resonating.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of business owners, they have many of these pieces, but they don't have all of them. So our goal is to have all of them, okay? So what I want to go into right now is the Boldly Blueprint, okay? So I'm going to go at it from a very high level. And this is where I say the magic happens. This is the really beautiful, dreamy part of your life in your business that should be motivating. And I'm going to share with you the key components of the blueprint. And then we'll actually take a little bit of time for you to get into your blueprint. And I am going to take a pause and actually go onto my Google Drive and find my own so I can share it with you during the exercise, because I think it'll make a little bit more sense when you see like my own words put onto paper. So we're going to break down the blueprint. At a really high level, this is what the blueprint looks like. We start with life vision, right? Big and broad. And then we say, how does my business look to support that, right? And this is a dream, okay? This is a dream at this point. A lot of people get stuck here because they're like, I don't know what I want my business to look like. And I always say, take a guess. Take the best guess that you can and look at it and see it and feel it and react to it. And it might not be perfect, but at least it's something that keeps you looking forward and in front of you, okay? The next thing is we define your business purpose. A lot of times with real estate investors, what I see is somebody goes, well, I don't want to miss out on anything, so I'm an agent, a rehabber, and a flipper. I wholesale, I have rentals. I also own a property management company. I'm a coach and right, like all these things. Oh, I do short sales. I have a short sale company. Do you guys have short sales in Canada? Am I speaking? Okay. So anyhow, another way to make sales and earn some money with regard to real estate. And they've got all these things out there. And what happens is when you don't have a defined purpose and defined goals is that you go this way. So what you want to achieve is right in front of you, but instead you just do a lot of things and you're just okay at all of them. Instead of saying, I'm going to be laser focused and I'm going to be great at this thing or two. And that's what I'm putting my time and energy into. So get to purpose. The next thing we define are business behaviors. This is about behaviors that you expect from yourself as the owner, as the leader, and that you promise to exhibit and share with others. These are also the behaviors that you hire by. These are the behaviors that you share with your contractors, with everybody else that you work with to say, this is how I operate. And I hope that you'll be operating in that same way. And those conversations can be a little bit scary, but they can also set the stage for how you do business and how well you do business for years to come. The next thing we do is define marketing strategy for your business and goals. And then the final goal is that this funnel is really that we get to a 90-day plan. So that we start with life vision and business vision, and then we break it down to say, what are like some big things I should be doing in the next 90 days that help me achieve this business vision, that help me achieve my life vision. So does that make sense so far? Now, the biggest thing here, and I'm going to say it again and again until exhaustion, is that this is not just about your business. This is about addressing the whole you. So this is what we call, in everything we do, we talk about our well-being wheel. So you can see here, there's all these different pieces of this well-being wheel, of this pie that we need to think about. And I'm not suggesting that you have to master every single area. I will be the first to say I'm never going to be a perfectly balanced person. It's just not how I'm wired. But I do want to make sure that I am focusing on my nourishment. That's something that I struggle with, but I know if I'm feeding my brain and body right, I do great in business every day, and I'm a better mom and a better partner and a better friend. And so I want to focus on nourishment. I focus on movement. I focus on mindset in my own way. I like to read, and I need to make sure that I have that quiet time to read, and so on and so forth. So we make sure that, like, for example, when you're crafting your life vision, you're thinking about these other things. You're not just thinking about the money you want to make or the car you want to drive. There has to be more to this that we continue to break down in that funnel so that we can apply it into our everyday lives, because the goal is peak performance, right? The goal is, how do I operate at my best so that my business can be as magical and beautiful as possible, so I can live this beautiful life. So
hold on, Nina, before you keep going, we got some questions.
Yes.
So one of the questions that popped up earlier was, are we able to share the slides with people afterwards? Because you went through the failures and they're like, I didn't get them down.
Oh. Yes, I can share some of them. I won't share all of them. Like, so for example, like this information here, this is like our, some of our tools and proprietary information. But if there are specific things, I will be happy to share. So yes, and we can also go back if we have time and go through those failures.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And someone asked, what triggered you to leave the corporate job and how did you do it? And now they're asking if you've already covered that, but I don't think you got a chance to sort of fill us in on what your transition was from corporate world to...
Okay, so I knew in about 2000, actually in college, I kept thinking to myself, there's something behind real estate. But I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't even really when I would even say this to myself, I thought property. I didn't even know what the words real estate meant. So that's like how naive I was at this time. But I remember in college going, that seems smart. That seems really smart. If you do it well, it seems like it's good for people. Like every wealthy person I know seems to have their hand in real estate, property. And I just had that thought for many, many, many years. And then in 2014, when I was kind of at this, breaking point in the corporate world and starting, coming up with a system and things like that and applying it to my team, I said, you know what? I'm going to take a chance on myself and get involved in real estate. And I stayed working in the corporate world while I got involved in real estate. And then after a few more years, I said, I really am seeing that what I do with this system, this Boldly & Co. now, it works. And I love doing this. So my breaking point actually happened on vacation, which I always call it vacation brain, right? You have a very clear brain, stress-free. And I always think you probably operate at your best when you're on vacation because your brain isn't tired and you are like in constant genius zone. And so yeah, in 2018, I said, I feel like I'm a shell of myself. I'm just going into the corporate world every day. I do real estate on the side, and I'm really, really unhappy. And I was on vacation and I just said, you know what, if I'm not willing to bet on myself, who else would ever be willing to bet on me? And my husband and I used this system to say, like, all these things, and have it planned out and have to plan out boldly and to say, where's our money at and how do we get our money right so that I feel safe in leaving. So I hope that helps.
That's awesome. Thank you. And there's just one more question. Caitlin was asking, she said, are these your smaller daily goals? So I think she was talking about the little wheel that you had before and asking if these are your smaller daily goals. But I think you're going to get into that, aren't you? When you
Yes, I am. But I do think it's a good thing to share. So Well-being, I think of a lot of these things at a macro level and a micro level. So yes, when I'm planning my life vision, I'm taking these things into account, right? So that's the macro level. Then also when I'm planning my week, I'm also considering these things and the goals that I've set for myself in relation to these things and saying, how do I, move a little bit more towards that goal this week? And when am I going to do that this week? And when is the right time to do that this week? So yes, when I put together goals or other people I work with put together these goals, we do it at a macro level, and then it's broken down to a micro level. And that's the goal, right? The whole idea is, how do you take this big picture, this exciting, motivating stuff for yourself where like, I dream of that. Like I couldn't even believe it if I was able to win like this in life. And the goal is to say, how do we actually make that reality and make it really easy? So you have to bring everything from macro to micro. And most people's brain, this is kind of why I come into play for a lot of business owners, is most people's brains think at one level or the other. They don't often think at both. I don't know if this is a blessing or a curse, but my brain thinks at both levels. So it thinks very high, big picture, big and broad, and is really creative and a million ideas every single day. And I also think very, very analytically and detailed. So that's kind of how I'm able to do this kind of stuff. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. So let's keep going. So let's talk about the blueprint, right? We're all talking about breaking down this first piece of Boldly's business system, this productivity system. And this is the blueprint. The blueprint starts here. Okay. So I'm just going to look over here. I have a bigger screen over here. So we first start with your life vision. Okay. So what you're seeing, these are like some paper pieces. When we teach, we have a workbook. I'm going to show you, we have an electronic version of this as well. That's a little bit easier to work through. But we start with a life vision, and we actually start with a description, right? Like big and broad. How would you describe your life? Like if you could dream of it right now. We don't hold anything back. Like your wants are your wants. That's fine. If you want to have, just want to be able to, let's say I want to give back to my community. That's great. That's your want. Or you could be like, I want to build a skyscraper and have a jet. That's great. Put it down, okay? Don't like your wants and your interests and your vision for yourself and what makes you happy is wholly unique to you, okay? So own that. The next thing that we do is we take that life vision and we say, how do we get more into the details? And you're going to see, I'm not sure if it's easy to see on your screen, but mine says like in the middle and on the right-hand side, the life vision, the details say money, house and vehicles, vacations and experiences, family. Oh, Nastasha, I'm in a call. Here's my little one. Sorry. She's always appearing. Sweetie, I'm in a meeting now. Okay. So, okay. Then we have family, friendships, and relationships. And then we have professional growth, community and connection, movement, nourishment. So again, what we're saying is big level, macro. What do I dream for myself? Okay. This isn't just about your business. This is about your life. This is about what you want your business to do for you. Okay. All right. The next piece of the blueprint is your business vision. So we've created that life vision, right? And we put some details down. And then we say, okay, so now what does the big broad view for my business look like? How does my business support that? Now, from your life vision, you might have things about movement, nourishment, right? So your business vision isn't going to totally support every single thing in your life vision, but it will support a lot of it. So I hope that makes sense. The next thing that we define is your business purpose. So you see, we're kind of breaking down, and we're saying, all right, so this is my vision for my business. What do I actually specialize in? what do I actually do? What's my purpose within my business? The biggest issue that I see for a lot of business owners is they say, like we were talking about this before, right? I do this, 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 this. And they're so scared of missing out that then they do all these things just okay or fail at them. And they don't do just one or two things really well. Take a chance and a risk for yourself to say, I believe in myself and I believe that I'm going to do great at one or two things, and make that be your purpose. The next thing that we do is we walk you through how to set those business behaviors that we talked about that you're going to expect of yourself. And here's the deal, guys. You're declaring these things for yourself. You're deciding that what I want in my business is to always go one step above and beyond. I expect excellence in all things. Right? Like this is what you're coming up with. A lot of times where people get these business behaviors from are from the bad experiences that they have had elsewhere. And they're like, I will never allow that into my business. Okay. So the next piece here is, this is a little bit tricky. Sometimes if you're a brand new business owner, this part can be tricky. And I often suggest to people that we kind of like, we spend a very little amount of time on it because it takes a little bit of effort and getting into your business to understand how to foster this. But we talk about like, well, who's your primary customer? We talk about exclusives, which are what makes you different, what makes you exclusive, what makes you a better real estate investing company to work with. Why are you different? Are you transparent? You're honest. All your data and research will be shown to the seller. You talk about being partners with the seller. Like, what is it that makes you better and different than your competition, right? Then we talk about a dedication to customers, right? This is a promise. So for example, my promise to my customers is if you aren't elated with what we do together or one of our products or services or whatever, just let me know and you can have all your money back. It's a satisfaction guarantee. What's awesome about a dedication to your customers is that it develops trust. It's not necessarily the way that they want to get out of working with you. It's how it allows them to get into working with you. They go, okay, wow, this doesn't feel so risky or scary anymore. And I understand like why they're working with me. I understand why they're different and better. They've explained all of this to me. They've behaved in this way that right? You've already defined and feels good that you set up for yourself. And then you're telling them like, here's how dedicated I am to your happiness, to your success, to our good experience together. And that helps you be very clear about who you are when you're working with somebody, right? It also helps you stay really clear about what your business is doing and what you should be doing in your business. Okay. Okay. So at this point, oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I hop in for a sec? Sorry, Nina.
Yeah.
Prav was asking, what is the purpose in real estate property rentals? So I think Prav might be having a bit of a challenge trying to figure out his business purpose if he's doing investment properties.
So if you're focusing, let's say like strictly on rental properties, so maybe your purpose is to be the best residential rental company in this region, right? So what you're doing is you're taking a general industry and then you're defining your niche. So it might be like, when it comes to rental management, we do this the best, right? Like, what is your purpose? So a lot of times people say, I'm a real estate investor. What kind? What do you do? What do you focus on? I could call out a million things that you could do in real estate. So to me, just defining that you hold rental properties, maybe that is your purpose, right? But you do it really well. You do great analysis, right? So you're kind of saying like, what's my focus? You're basically saying, what are all the things I don't do? What are the things I say no to? What are the things that I refer out Maybe you still have a money earning system by referring things out, but you don't take that time on for yourself. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Okay, the next thing that we do in this blueprint is we define our goals. So at this point, we've said, here's my life vision, and it's dreamy and beautiful and creative and inspiring and keeps you motivated because you're like, man, if I could get that, life would be amazing. We then are defining all these other things, right, about our business. This is still big and broad information, okay? The next thing we're doing is we're saying, what are the goals for our business? This is where things start to become tactical and practical, okay? So we want to take this dreamy vision and we want to say, what do I actually have to achieve? What do I think I have to achieve to do that? And what you see on your screen is kind of like a worksheet that says, what are 1-year goals? What's your 2-year goals? What are your 10-year goals? You could make this any set of goals that you want when it comes to a year time frame. So you could say 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, whatever feels good for you. Sometimes it's very hard for people to think out to 5 years or out to 10 years. That's fine. What my primary goal is to get people down to their 1-year goals. What do I need to do in 1 year? What money do I need to generate? What profit do I need to make, right? So you might be thinking about revenue, gross profit, net profit, whatever it might be. How do my goals support that amount of money that I wish to make? And maybe that amount of money is connected to because you want to leave your corporate job. Maybe that amount of money is because, wow, that actually lets you buy rental without having to get them below market price and have to hustle for them and find amazing deals. So whatever it is, the amount of money that you're trying to earn and the goals that connect to it, they have to relate to like this bigger picture of what you're trying to do with your business vision and your life vision. Okay.
So you're saying that if someone has a goal to leave their job in 5 years, then instead of having like 1 year, 2 year, 10 year, they might have 1, 2, and 5. And then they'd sort of be projecting or building up their income, increasing the number of, rent to owns that they're doing. And they would have everything laid out year by year so that they have their plan for how they're going to be at their goals for their 5th year.
Yes. And, a lot of times I suggest that we work backwards, right? So we're going from this big and broad, this macro level, down, 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 down to the 1 year. And a lot of times when people are setting their goals, you might go, I don't know how to think out to just 5 years. Okay, start at 1 year. What do you want to do in the next 1 year? What do you think you need to achieve? And how could that translate into the money that you want to earn? Okay. And remember, some of your goals here might be related to well-being, movement, nourishment, family, not jeopardizing relationships. It doesn't just have to be about business. I always encourage people to have a few things related to that well-being wheel outside of just career. And then you might take those 1-year goals and build them up to say, well, if I could do that in 1 year, then what if I increase that a little bit in year 2? And then what if I, increase that a little bit? Okay, well, what could that look like in year 5? And then you might react. The goal is put something down. Give yourself the opportunity to react. So many people go, I'm just stumped. I'm, figuratively paralyzed. I just can't get it out there. Take a guess. How does that make you feel? React. Try again. Go back and forth. This should not be a simple exercise, but it is a worthwhile one, because what happens when you're done with all these goals and you go, wait a second, if I achieve those things, all of a sudden, all those things I said I want for my life could be reality. That is the goal that we want to reach, is that you feel inside of you, this really could happen.
That's so powerful, Nina. I love that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when I would start, like I do this for myself every year. I adjust my blueprint, I adjust my goals. My husband and I do it individually, and we do it together as well. And it is so exciting. Like that's the energy you want to have, because when you, like I said, when you have those hard days in your business, which happen all the time, and have hard days in your life and with family or whatever it might be, this is what gets you through. Is you go, I know what I'm working towards. I know what I'm working for. And it's about way bigger than this one little situation that's happening today or this year. Okay.
Absolutely. One more, just Kendra asked, could purpose also be connected to identifying your why? Like, why do you own rental properties and why do you do it well?
It could be. The idea is that you're very clear about what your business does. So I would suggest, like to me, your reason why might fit more into your life vision description. Like, why does your business look like this? Why are you going after it? Why is it so important to you, right? The purpose, I get that word can probably be a little bit confusing because it could mean a jillion different things, but jillion's not a word, huh? A million different things. But in this particular case, what purpose means is like, what does your business do? And you're going to stick to focusing on that. Okay. All right, let's keep going. So the next piece of this is that you're going to take your goals, and here's where we really make these tactical. You're going to look at your 1 year set of goals, and you're going to say, holy cow, I know that if I can achieve these 1 year goals, like that means I am on my way. So the next piece we want to do is say, what are the 5, no more than 5, key milestones? Think projects, not real estate investment project, business project. What are the key 5 things that I need to achieve in the next 90 days that would set me on this track to achieve what I set out to do in the next year? So in the course of a year, you're going to have 4 90-day plans, right? But we don't have to think that far out. That takes a lot of brain power and a lot of planning and a lot of unknowns. So we just say, okay, what do I think I need to do? And you're going to look at your 1 year goals and you're going to say, okay, which one's a priority? Which one's urgent? Which ones are kind of everything else right now, or they're not urgent yet, they're not a priority yet. And you're going to say, what do I need to do then in the next 90 days to address the most important ones that move me forward? These should be hard things. These are big efforts, okay? And the reason why we just focus on them for 90 days is that's kind of about all our attention span can hold for, right? So we just say, let's make this real easy. What are the 5 key milestones? And what I'm not going to get into, but what you can see on the screen is you list your milestones at the top, but the most important piece is what comes next. What are the things I need to do? What are the tasks that I need to do to make this project come to life? And you're thinking about who owns this task. That's not necessarily the person that's doing it, but they are the leader, they are the owner of that task. When do I start this task? When should it end or be wrapped up by? You're asking yourself, is it realistic? I realize that's very small. And then the next piece is it in my planner? Did I actually take this task and put it in my weekly list of when I need to do it? Okay, so we are taking vision, breaking it down, and turning it into action that we really believe we need to do. And then we're actually taking the action during the week. Okay, so what I'd love to do is give everybody a little bit of work time to do your life vision. You can do this in a number of ways. So I'm going to go back to this slide. It says here, like, right, you could do your life vision description, like keep it real broad if this is how your brain thinks. That's great. But what do you envision for your life? What do you want out of it? What would make it meaningful? To the question before, like, what's my reason why I am here and I'm doing what I'm doing? What is this for? Is it for time? My babies, my children, my legacy, my community? What is it for? And then there's all these other ways too that you could think of. You could go through this exercise right now and say, I'm just going to focus on what do I want my money to look like, right? And what do I want my house or vehicles to look like? What do I want my relationships to look like? So you could pick one, some, all of these categories, but I want you to spend just a couple minutes on that. I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen for a second. And give me 1 minute. I'm going to actually go find mine and share it with everybody. So give me just a second here. Getting a couple cords plugged in so I don't lose battery. I'm going to go find mine, but let me ask, does anybody have questions right now before they get started? Like they're like, I do not know what we're supposed to be working on. Okay, so I'm going to go get mine and I'll share with you guys because I think that's really important.
I'm happy to share mine too, Nina, if you want.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. I think that's great.
I think mine is actually kind of similar to yours.
Okay, perfect.
Or at least to the one that you did when you provided the template one for us.
Yes, yes.
I think mine's fairly similar to that because it actually really resonated with me.
Perfect. I have mine up. It's loading right now.
Can you see the chat box in your screen? Do you have the chat box open?
Let's see here. Oh, I do. Oh, I had it scrolled up a little bit.
There you go.
Okay. Oh, beautiful. I see Elizabeth's here. Okay, Elizabeth, my primary goal, serve my friends, family, staff, and clients. My life is peaceful and abundant. Nothing throws me off my game. Oh, I love that one. I remain calm and relaxed, able to pivot and respond positively to any situation. I do not worry about money or time. I have a ton of energy and joy. I live in gratitude and abundance. I happily share my time, knowledge, and network with others, and I gracefully to receive the same. Oh, I love that.
Thanks.
I love that. Let me share mine, and we'll just take a few more minutes here. All right. So this is an example of like the tool in electronic form. I think it's a little bit easier to conceptually understand. So you can see like life vision is here. Then we get into the details of life vision. Then we get into business vision, right? And keep breaking that down. Purpose, business behaviors, marketing strategy, goals, 90-day plan, right? And then we're taking like your 90-day plan and turning it into all the details that you're going to have to make it a reality. Okay. So here's my life vision, my general description, and then I'll talk about the details of my life vision. Like I'll talk about money, okay? So I have for my life, I want to do amazing, wonderful things by giving back in big ways to my community, family, and friends. I want to truly believe that I have enough time. Additionally, I want to live in abundance and without fear of finances for the remainder of my life. I want to live in comfort and beauty. By the way, I really struggled with putting that down because I don't know about you, but I grew up in a house when I was little that was like, you get what you need, not what you want. And so that was a mindset shift that I had to make, like that it was okay to want things that you don't just need. So if I want to live in comfort and beauty, I want to travel the world and constantly experience new things. I want to be healthy, have amazing amounts of good energy each day. I want to feel professionally fulfilled while being able to work when I choose to. So how that translates, for example, that big broad vision into the money aspect of my vision is my passive income covers my expenses, savings, and spending needs and wants so that I live without financial stress. So right, to me, what this tells me is what what do I usually come away with when I have a rental property? And how many of those do I need so that my living expenses are covered every month, right? So that want can be crafted down into something that's practical and tactical that shapes your goals. Then I have additionally, I earn money because I want to in order to give and experience life in more massive ways. I own 5 million in income producing assets and invest as a private lender. On an annual basis, after reaching financial freedom, I earn 200K per year to do as I wish with. So like my dream isn't to earn millions of dollars a year. My dream is to actually be done with work and have options to work or play or be involved with my community. To me, what freedom is how do I use my money so I have options? That to me feels very powerful. So that's how I translate that big, broad life vision into the details of my life vision related to money, right? And then I do the same with these other categories: house, vehicles, vacation, experiences. Okay, so let me stop. All right, any other questions? And then we can maybe take another minute or two. Please keep crafting those life visions. And we can get back and we can talk a little bit about time, because we've talked about really big, broad things, but the reality is you need to know how to perform on a daily basis and think about your time. So I'm going to actually go into a few pieces of our productivity methodology, which is how you think about your hours and your days and your weeks when you're taking on your tasks. And I promise you, it's totally life-changing.
I think everybody's probably busy frantically scribbling at home, Nina. I was going to ask if anybody wanted to share, and I'm thinking back in how long it took me to just get those few sentences together. And I'm like, nobody's going to be ready to share till like next Monday.
And I do want to say, these exercises, you know, I always call it's a purposeful pause, because I think people kind of balk at the idea of taking time away from doing their business every single day to step back and do this. But that purposeful pause is necessary, because this tells you exactly what you need to do. There is no guesswork when you get done with it. So
I think there's a lot of people out there who are very surprised at what happens in their life. Like I know, if I look at 10 years ago, if I would have envisioned being here in my life, there's no way that I would have envisioned that this would have happened. And I'm really happy and I'm really glad that it did. But I think a lot of people, they live life by accident and not by design.
yeah.
And one of the biggest changes we make in our lives as real estate investors is deciding when to leave our job. So if we're not planning for it, if we're not preparing for it, if we don't know our finances, like I remember before my husband left his, we had set his date. And the closer we got to the date, the more anxious and the more he was like, then he started telling people it's costing me too much money to work. I'm going to leave. And then I'm like, whoa, like we had a date. And then the conversation was, okay, so now we need to figure out what we're going to dump in terms of expenses, because the closer that day gets, the more you're done. That's it. You're done. So then you start dumping expenses like you're bailing out a boat.
Yeah.
Then eventually it comes. But I think if you're not planning for it, if you're not preparing for it properly as an investor, then you can be putting yourself in, some challenging situations, which you then create stress in your life trying to figure it out.
100%. 100%. I think too, a lot of business owners go, well, tell me how much money I need to have saved so I can leave my job.
Yeah.
Listen, you have to understand like what your own tolerance for risk is and where your business is at and where your experience is at, where your hustle level is at. For my husband and I, when we were thinking about, he had left his job and he was a stay-at-home dad part-time, and then also was getting our real estate investing business started part-time. And I was still in the corporate world, and we had a 3-month-old and a 3-year-old at home. And I said, okay, like if it were just up to me, I would just take a risk and go. But wait, I have 2 little ones at home and I need to be cognizant of them. So we decided it was 18 months. And so we did, that's how many months of living expenses that we needed. And we said, listen, if we don't make a dime for the first year, we still have 6 months to go out and find a job, right? So that's what felt right to us. But other people, you have to make your own decision. So.
And I think that's brilliant to plan it like that in terms of what kind of reserves do we need to be able to protect us. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah. And then when we did a flip, let's say, or, we did a rehab and we earned money from that, we didn't go put it back into our business. We said that's going to sit in a savings account. And when it gets to a certain level, now I can leave. So that was more effective because we knew if I was in our business too, well, wow, we could really get to the finish line a lot faster. So it was about how do I get, myself out of my job so we can zoom to the finish line faster rather than keep me in my job and slowly get there maybe over 5, 6, 7 years. So that was how we did it. So
that's awesome. All right, let's get on to the next section because I know everybody's going to be dying to see this part.
Perfect. Okay. All right, let me get back here. Okay, so we're all here. Passion led us here. What I want to do is just put this all together, okay? And then we're going to quickly get to the time piece. So remember, you're starting with this blueprint, big and broad, macro, right? Then you're taking that blueprint. The bottom part of that is what do I need to do in the next 90 days? Again, big and broad, just 5 things, right? 5 big projects. And then you're putting them into these little pieces. What are all the tasks I need to do? You're taking some guesses. You're not going to know everything about the future in the next 90 days, but you're going to have a pretty good idea. I need to do this. I need to get out this many offers, whatever it might be. Then you're taking that and you're going, okay, what is my budget? What does my money need to look like, right? So you might do this on a personal level, a business level, a combined level, right? But you need to understand your money. And this is hard stuff, but when you know this, guess what you can do? Like if you have a worksheet or workbook, right? Like a Google Excel sheet or something, you can play around. If I make this, what does this do to my bottom line? If I do this in the next year, how does that affect A, B, and C over here? If I sell this non-performing rental, but it's actually at a good market price, what could I do with that profit, right? So that's what you're trying to get to. You want options. The next piece is now we're taking all of that and we're saying, what do I need to do every day and every week? And it's about how you do it every day and every week. Okay, it's not just about knowing your tasks. It's about doing the right tasks at the right time. It's also about shifting behaviors and mindsets. And the ultimate goal is, right, we're operating at peak levels for ourselves. Okay, so I want to get to our planning methodology, and I'm going to go very quickly because I realize that we are like close to our end time, and I know it's late, and I really appreciate you guys being here. So this is that third piece. This is the third piece of our build and boom your business is understanding the productivity methodology. That's what we call it, right? So you can think about it like we have a planner and you're planning your day and your week, okay? To me, it's not about the planner we have, it's about the method, it's about the concepts, it's about how you think about your time and your tasks, okay? So I'm gonna scoot through this. These are some views of our planner, but again, I wanna remember everything is still connected to that well-being wheel, right? Your work for your business is one piece of that. And in order to do great in your business, you have to be whole. Okay. So, this is the idea behind our methodology. The first piece is you're going to cross off time where you have commitments. Notice that I didn't just say meetings, I said commitments. So when you're looking at your electronic calendar, let's say you have 2 meetings on there in the next day, and you're like, I have all this time. But do you really have all that time? No, you're getting yourself ready in the morning, kids ready. You might be driving to work, driving home from work, taking a lunch break, going to work out, right? So you don't just have 2 meetings, you have all these other things that life requires of you. So we want to make sure that when you're thinking about your day, you really understand where you do not have time and then where you do have time. And I'm going to show this to you in our planner in a second so it makes a little bit more sense. The next thing that we do is we do a brain dump of everything you think you need to do for that week. Now, where do some of these brain dump action items, I call them action items, they're tasks, to-dos, okay? Where do these come from? Does anybody know? Can anyone take a guess? Where do most of your brain dump, like where do your action items come from in your brain dump? How do you know what you're supposed to be doing in a week? Any guesses?
Well, if it helps at all, Nina, I used to decide a lot of what I was doing for the week by who was yelling the loudest from my emails.
Yeah. So your action items every week, where are you looking to? You're looking to your building blocks, your project plan, right? That you already connected to your 90-day plan and your year goals and your business vision and your life vision, right? So you know you're working on the right things. So you're looking at that building blocks plan and you're saying, okay, those are the things I need to be working on this week. And then you're also looking at, okay, the well-being wheel, right? Okay, what do I need to do for nutrition, for movement, for my relationships, right? So you're putting all of it in. The next thing is you're going to categorize it. It's not enough to have a to-do list. You need to put some weight behind each item. So for example, if you have something that is coming from your building blocks plan, we know that moves your business forward, right? We know that gets you to your goals. So that would be a priority. But what about checking email every day or reactive tasks? That's not a priority, right? So we want to categorize things by priority, urgent, everything else, and delegate. Okay, those are the 4 categories that we go by. And then once we have our brain dump, we've categorized them, and we know what time we do have, now we document them in our planner. So I'm going to quickly show you guys. By the way, in our planner, these instructions all exist in extreme detail. And I think the unique thing about the planner is like you have to get through all these pieces to even say what you're going to do in a day or a week. Again, it is about the methodology. It's about operating better, not doing things the same as any other old planner or way that you've been doing things in the past. So this is a weekly layout, right? So on the left-hand side, you have your weekly brain dump. On the right-hand side is a daily page. Okay. So in that brain dump, you're putting down the priorities, all other action items, you're categorizing them. On the right-hand side, you're documenting meetings and commitments, and then separately, you're able to call out productivity and action, right? So you're taking from your brain dump and saying, where does that fit every single day? Where do these tasks fit? Okay, so what I want to do is show you, if you're looking at a day, right? So I'm showing you this in our planner. You can do this anywhere, right? You could do this in your electronic calendar. You can do this in a notebook. But we've set up the planner so it supports the methodology. So you're crossing off time, right? Maybe you're writing in your meetings and commitments, or you're just crossing them off and you go by your electronic calendar. But what that does is it shows you, right? You want to have a separation between meeting and commitment and action. And so you're looking at your day. So this is a Monday and you're going, okay, I've got 2 hours here, 2 hours there, an hour. Maybe, you have 3 hours in the evening. For me, I would be like, no, family time. But, so this is a day, okay? And one of the most important things that I want to teach you, because we have very limited time and I could teach this to you for 2 hours, all the different ins and outs of the methodology that are important to know. But this is one of the most important takeaways. You need to know your zones in a day. So when you're looking at your day and you're going, I've got 2 hours here, 2 hours here, another hour here, and you're looking at your brain dump and you're going, what tasks am I pulling over into these open blocks where I can be productive and take action? You want to ask yourself, well, what are my zones in a day? So I call it green or genius zone, yellow and red. So my genius zone, for example, is when I am on fire. I am creative. I am strategic. I feel like I could work forever. I want to do the hard stuff. I want to dive in. And then I get to a yellow zone because my brain is tapped out, right? And I'm a little more reactive and I'm a little slower and I don't have as much willpower. I'm not as creative. And then red zone is like, don't mess with me because I've had enough for the day. Okay. So when you're looking at this is how you should see it for yourself. You need to be self-aware. When are my green zones? When is my genius zone? That's not the same. And it's not in accordance to your corporate job, right? It's not 9 to 5. You don't operate perfectly from 9 to 5. So there are actually 6 different kind of waves that most humans go through. And there are kind of 6 different genius zones. When is yours? So for example, mine is probably from about 7 a.m. till noon. Afternoon, I'm a little more reactive. Nighttime, don't mess with me. I am done. Okay, I put all my energy out. So when I'm looking at my day in my green zones and my genius zones, what tasks, what category of tasks am I putting into my green zone? Am I checking email? Am I doing social media? Or am I doing a priority that I know moves my business and my life forward? So here's what most people do. They fill up their calendar with the everything else tasks, the reactive tasks, and they get those done first. And guess what? Somehow there's just never enough time left in the week to do anything else. And guess what got left by the wayside? Your priorities. So tell me, if you're not moving your business forward and you're just reacting every week, your business will do what? It will just stay here or go down. So how do you be better than everybody else? You do the right tasks at the right times for your brain and body. This takes a discipline. I will not ever tell you it is easy, but if you know what you want from your vision and why you want it and why it's important, guess how easy it is to work on the hard stuff in your green zones. Very easy. You know what you're working for and why you're working for it, and you can do it over the long term. The last piece, I think this is the last piece that I'll touch on when it comes to thinking about your week and your time, is I want you to only plan for 75% of the time that you think you have available. Okay, I call this my 75% rule. Here's the deal. Something wrong happens, right? Every day. Something goes wrong. A task took longer than we thought. We had computer trouble, like whatever it is, we get sick. Like, oh my gosh, life does not go perfectly. Let's accept that now and every day. And let's set ourselves up to win. So again, what happens is people go, I've got 10 hours and I'm going to schedule 12 hours worth of tasks. And wow, it would be a good day if I could get these all done. Or they have 10 hours and they plan for 10 hours worth of tasks. Did those 10 hours go perfectly though? No. So what happens is every day you fail. How would the word be unmotivating, demotivating is that? That is like a spirit crusher, right? Where you're like, again, I didn't do what I needed to do for my business, right? Because you weren't realistic. Okay. It's one thing to know how to be productive, and it's also necessary to be realistic. Okay. You want to set yourself up to win every day, every hour. So when you're looking at your day, you're going to have got 2 hours here, 2, 1, 3. Okay. I've got 8 hours to get stuff done. You're not planning for 8 hours. You're going, I really probably have more like 75% of those 8 hours, because I'm going to get in a conversation with somebody I wasn't planning on. Someone's going to chit chat with me. This task is going to go longer than I thought. Who knows, right? And so when you're pulling from your brain dump, you're thinking about how long do these tasks take, right? Or can I break them up into chunks or whatever I need to? And then how do I plan for that amount of time? All right. Okay, I'm done. I was a little nervous that I was going to go over. So thank you guys for being so patient with me.
That was awesome, Nina. Your timing is absolutely impeccable.
3 minutes.
Way to go. Okay, so I just want to highlight a couple of things for everybody. First of all, I want to say thank you so much, Nina, for coming and sharing. I'm really honored that we're, your very first Canadian group that you've presented to. So go us. That's amazing. And one of the things I want to really highlight for you guys is, 7-figure flipping is a huge organization in terms of they are 100% completely focused on their students or their clients and their mastermind being successful. And the thing that I found so interesting was that Nina's course is a mandatory fundamental. And what I figured out is it's because your methodology actually works. And it literally, like, I've been in real estate for so long and I've balanced and, I have multiple companies that I run and, I remember what it was like to try and balance, I don't have kids, but I remember what it's like to try and balance like family and your own health. And, I want to grow this real estate business. And, oh, by the way, I still have to, keep money coming in. I got a job over here. And it was so hard. You'd get an hour in the evenings or 2 hours in the evenings and you'd sit down at your desk. You'd be like, where do I begin? Like, what do I even do with this time that I have? And it was always the biggest thing was to maximize the time that you have available for each of your different roles or each of your different hats that you wear. And your tool is really the very first time I've seen something that's gone from what is the life that I want to create, and then what does that look like on a daily basis to get there? I might not have this life right now, but you're always looking forward and you're always planning and you're always committed to achieving your milestones so that your bigger goals come into focus in the future. And I think that's amazing.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. So I think there might be some people here. There'll be some people who might say, oh, this is awesome. And they're going to go and they're going to work on their stuff. But I think there might be some other people here, myself being one of them, who was like, okay, Nina, I want to do this. Show me the easiest possible way to integrate this, to get this into my life. And it's interesting because I know one of my coaching clients, as soon as I said I wanted to have you in for this webinar, she's like, I have her planner. I swear by it. That thing goes everywhere with me. So I definitely, I think there's a lot of ways that we can adopt this and make it easier. Are you okay to sort of share a little bit about that?
Yes.
That'll make it easier for us.
Yeah. Let me be really easy. Let me share. I'll take you to my website. So it's boldlyandco.com. And I would suggest starting with one of two things. So again, if you want this kind of on a micro level, like how do I start implementing this like tomorrow, right? The first thing that I would suggest is you go to products and you can get our planner. So you can get one of two things. You can get the actual physical planner. It's 6 months. It walks you through the whole methodology. Some of the pages that you saw today are in there. The other option is we have a printable planner. So this is just 1 week, right? You can print it as you need it. It comes in PDF form. You can also upload it to a tablet and use apps like Notability to use a stylus on it. So these would be one of the 2 options that I would suggest to start with if you're like, how do I make this happen tomorrow? Okay. The next thing that I would suggest, the last thing I would suggest is if you go to coaching and workshops, this next Saturday, January 16th, where I'm hosting a workshop. It goes from 9:30 in the morning. So let's see, 10:30 your time to 5:30 in the evening. And we go through everything, every piece of the system. You get all of our tools. You get the workbooks, physical and electronic. You get all kinds of goodies that go with it. And normally it's $6.95, but we have a promotion where if you put in BBYB 495, so I'll show you, add to cart. And in the coupon code, you're going to put this in, BBYB 495. Okay. You're going to apply that coupon. It's going to give you $200 off, and it's $495. So basically, in 7 hours, 8 hours, we go through everything together in a virtual group workshop. I typically keep those very small, just a few people, and we go through it, and you know everything I know, and you get all the tools that I have, and we do the work. We're doing the work together, and you have me right then and there to ask questions to, bounce ideas off of. We bounce ideas off of other people in the group. And then if you need more than that, then you can decide, and we can, talk further later. So
that's amazing. So what you're basically saying is by the middle of January, we could literally have our entire plan for the rest of the year done. And then we just wash, rinse, repeat every week when we fill out our planner.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
That's mind-blowing to me. I love that.
Good. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I had such a fun time. I love talking about this stuff. So
We're so honored that you were able to join us. And thank you so much, guys. I know your time is really valuable. And I really hope everybody, in addition to listening to your wonderful accent, Nina, it's always...
What accent? I don't have an accent.
Love that. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Thank you for coming. I will send out a recording of the webinar. You'll get it early next week. And if you would like to get to spend some more time with the lovely Nina and learning to use how to implement her methodology and planner and tools, then January 16th is the date to keep in mind. Thank you so much, Nina. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have
you,
a great time, guys.